Fingers crossed. I want to do a live stream.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Whatever you did, dude.
Baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me, I'm going to do this for the people so that you guys can see. This is what I'm seeing, guys, as I'm live streaming. Video unavailable, view in studio. Comments are turned off. No, they aren't. Everything is set up perfectly. You screw. Can you guys see that if I'm live streaming?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
And
So
we'll be watching the chats too. So we'll jump in there.
okay, let me just, sorry guys, you're gonna have to just put up with I'm not seeing me live streaming, but okay, screw it.
Now it says, because now it says video unavailable, but it was just a second ago.
It was live streaming?
Yeah.
I'm in the chat and it says two watching now. Tillman's in there.
Wow. Okay. Greetings. It's Uncle V. I'm back like a good rash. And today I have my gavel. As you heard at the beginning, we're having some tech issues and I can't see
we're live.
The live stream. Okay, we're live. You guys are in the comments. That's good. So for a second there, it was saying that I'm not allowed to live stream. And so that I exited out and came back, but who cares right now, everybody? It's Friday. And you know me, I unapologetically cover Epic Cash. Good to see you all again. I have with me Max Freeman on the line and Yoga Dude with me. And today, I mean, I don't even think I have, is the title right? Do I have the title in there? Does it say?
Yeah. Yep.
Shitcoin travel?
ECK, shitcoin travel. What the heck
all
is
right.
ECK?
What the heck is ECK? That is a big question that I have. So look, here's how it works, everybody. Last time we did a shitcoin trial for Epic Cash 2.5 years ago, a little more than that, turned out pretty well, right? I think so. I am judge and juror here. Here's the rules, and they're my rules. I declare ECK a shitcoin, ECK a shitcoin, and Max and Gene, if Enrique shows up, you guys will have 45-50 minutes to convince me otherwise.
We can do it shorter.
You can do it
it's
shorter.
Friday. I got some meat I want to throw on the barbie, so let's go.
All right. So here's why I think ECK. First of all, Max, before I say, what does ECK stand for?
It doesn't. Sorry.
Well, so as we were brainstorming,
30-second answer. You have a 30-second answer.
As we were brainstorming what roles this asset would perform in our overall stack, we came up with certain things that we wanted to drive in no particular order.
15 seconds.
Knowledge, kudos, kindness, and karma. And so we just went with the K, and also the katana with the cool pose with Ava. So that's how it came about.
So is it something off of ECR and you just want it to be EC something else?
No.
Well, we want brand consistency across all the different assets of the stack. The thing that's nearest and dearest to my heart is Freeman U and the Epic New Knowledge Initiative. We have an opportunity here to enable people to earn some of our currency by putting
okay, Max, no worries.
Yeah,
no worries.
Okay.
We don't know what ECK stands for. Okay, so ECK doesn't necessarily stand for, like, Epic Private Internet Cash. So we don't have anything parallel to that. Okay.
Right. It's a blank canvas for us to paint.
Got it. Well, let me tell you why I think ECK is ECK. And it's because when ECK was just in the background, it was like this canary network that I knew about, which I knew was a playground to be able to have Todd Lewis and other devs go in and beat up the tech and try to change everything, to make it faster or more scalable, or incorporate new algorithms, I was like, cool, that makes all kinds of good sense.
That's it. You
But-
just explain it. We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
No, I'm not done. Let me give you one number, $1.20. $1.20 was where Epic Cash was. And then when all of this focus on ECK came to be, it was like this new shiny object. And everyone was like, ECK, ECK, and ECK. And I'm like, what the fuck? What about Epic Cash? Since then, we're down 75%. We're trading at 30 cents. So that's why I selfishly, attribute it to taking our community eye off the ball, Epic Cash, and focusing on ECK. It was like just this school of fish, how they go in one turns. And it's just like poor old Epic Cash is sitting over there, and so that's why I declare it a shit coin now. You have some time to be able to convince me otherwise.
Okay.
All right, sure. So first of all, Epic has been, it's 34 cents right now. Epic has been 34 cents in the year 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and again in 2023. Now, in each of those years, we ascended aside from 2019, which is nobody knew about it, we've had higher highs as well. So as you yourself have said many times, when in doubt, zoom out. I think it's important for people to know that this is not a new shiny object. This is essential to our mission, and that's why we're doing it. ECK is all about driving Epic. It's an afterburner on the engine and fulfills some key gaps for the broader ecosystem that the inability to move forward with the ECR plan. We needed to plug those gaps, and now we have. So let me speak briefly to
why did we have to bail on ECR?
Okay, so there was a court case in California. It's called the Ooki DAO case, OOKI, if people want to research it. And that means that it's essentially inadvisable for people who are US citizens to participate in DAOs, given the cloudiness of the regulatory environment. Our original plan was to launch Epicentral DAO to instantiate the ECR asset to be the third wheel in the equation of Epic, ECR, and EUSD. All roads lead to EUSD. You can't just have two assets, as we saw with Terra Luna. It's a self-referential equation if you only have two and it's unstable. But if you have three, then it can work. So I've always been very, very risk averse, particularly when it comes to that type of stuff. And it's until things settle down, we'd be wading into risks we can't control in a minefield. We don't know what the rules of the game are going to be years from now. And so until that settles down, we need to put those ambitions on pause and do what we can do. So ECK can do about 80% of the functions for the ecosystem that we need, that we had envisioned for ECR. And so this demonstrates that we're continuing with our development path, regardless of what goes on with the market or the regulatory environment or FUD and drama or anything else. We've been here before, and I'm sure we'll be here again, but we just keep plugging away.
Max, we raised a lot of community funds over the last 2.5 years with the promise of ECR. There were snapshots and such. Are those just all poof gone?
No, we're still finalizing the allocations, but absolutely, we're committed to making ECR and EIOU holders whole and happy. I mean, getting our community unified and happy and all row in the same direction is absolutely imperative. It's a huge
Max,
focus.
If I could just jump in and address some of the technical aspects, Uncle, to your point, we actually communicated right at the time when we did the snapshots on your show that we actually took the snapshots off the blockchain. So that was absolutely done. Those snapshots, in fact, were communicated to Todd Lewis's team at the time. So that was done. Vite snapshots.
Who holds those?
Well, there are copies of them around. I mean,
okay, but I
still
still
in the blockchain.
Huh?
I'd feel better knowing who holds those. So if it's just one person, that they don't, if they don't get hit by a bus.
Yeah, it's more than one person.
There's multiple copies.
There's
yeah,
a bunch of copies around. Yeah, that's not the issue is not that at all. So anyway, but that's just to reassure folks that yes, snapshots were in fact taken.
Yeah, they were taken. I remember that.
Well, no, it's just there were some folks that were saying like, oh, there's probably not even a snapshot taken and whatever. And it's like, no, they were taken for sure.
There's a great Mike Tyson quote. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, or a military quote, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. So the world changes and we must change with it. But our commitment to doing right by everyone who's been on the journey with us is essential. I mean,
Because I just
we're in the trust
remember,
business here.
I appreciate that. I just remember reading, and it was from you, Max, in the I can't remember where the heck it was, but it was very short. It was ECR, ECR and EIOUs not happening. Can you comment on that, Max?
Well, I don't recall that specifically, but we have not issued any more IOUs, and we won't. And we've been actively planning. We've done 3 rounds of EIOU retirement, which a lot of people don't know, but we have. And a lot of work has gone into adapting the plan to fit.
So I participated.
New...
I participated in each one of those. Those are very, very small amounts and such. But was that just to get
to test the machinery?
Test the machinery. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. The process, get the process in place. We had a lot. We had people trying to double dip and fraud and stuff.
Yes,
you know, so
yes.
we have to protect against that type of stuff.
That was exactly
before we
yeah, that was
it.
exactly what we saw. Where there's some folks that were actually trying to take advantage of the the mechanism of compensation. But to be fair, it was a small amount for some folks, but for some folks there was actually the totality of their entire EIOU debt. So there were some folks. This is why I wish Enrique was here. But some of the folks were actually settled out completely. Again, not everybody's a major holder, but
quite a few actually.
We did manage to to close some substantial, by their percentage, folks out of this.
And it's also a demonstration of intent. I mean, I invested in a lot of crypto stuff back in earlier years that just completely fell apart. And it went to zero, everybody's gone, and then you hear hide nor hair from them.
Well, I hear you. And that's why I wanted to clarify, gentlemen, because this should be that we're in the trust business and we should be trustworthy. Mm-hmm. And so absolutely. ECR is a big deal to a lot of us. A lot of us raised money, invested money. I invested a shit ton of money on the promise of ECR and EIOU. So when I read that ECR, EIOU ... not happening, I had that quarter red flag go up. Mm-hmm. And so it's good to hear that there's still the commitment. Mm-hmm. Doesn't sound like there's
100%.
A timeline, 100%. But we have a promise. So,
well, and as far as the timeline, look, we all want this done sooner rather than later. I mean, this is.
But doesn't that have to do as much with Epic's price, Gene? I'm sorry, Yoga.
Yeah. I mean, if
because there's no way
if we're gonna keep doxing each other,
call me Todd Pittner. I don't give a shit, Yoga. I'm sorry. I call you Gene. I have before, and you're like, it's okay. It's okay. So right. Slip of the tongue, Gene, Yoga. Whatever. All right. But I'm Todd Pittner. But I don't care. People know that.
Yep. And you're right. I mean, yeah, this is something that we definitely don't want to keep hanging over our head. I mean, it doesn't serve anybody any good. So this is, the value of Epic does play into this. The value of ECK will play into this, but we will take care of this.
Let me speak to that for a second, because sure. Epicenter is an ecosystem. It's a concept. It's a vision. Everybody's familiar with the subway map, or for those who aren't, that is still absolutely the plan. And the fact that there's now some question marks around whether the component that we wanted to do with that was to be ECR, how that needs to be structured to get to EUSD doesn't negate the fact that we still have the best cohesive vision for how to revolutionize the world's money. And so what I'd like to do, instead of focusing on the past, is focus on the bright future and what ECK specifically does for us to get us all where we want to go.
All right.
I know we're at 16 minutes here. So zooming out, what is a shitcoin? So for me, a shitcoin is something with no utility, no purpose for existing, and no future. The utility of ECK for Epic owners is that it enables us to safely innovate and not be frozen in time like BTC. Quantum resistance is something that Todd and I have been focused on since the very beginning. And the crystal's dilithium algorithm is quantum resistant for the proof of work, and coupled with the existing structure of Mimblewimble gives us the best overall quantum resistance of any blockchain out there. So we have our cake and eat it too, in terms of being able to push the limits of Epic and not jeopardize our precious 100% uptime record that we've had since February of 2021. So that's great. We need to get to a point where Epic can handle all of the world's transactions. WeChat Pay in China does a billion transactions a day all by itself. And so with ECK, we get a 600% increase in throughput by taking the block size from 1 meg to 4 megabytes and doing that every 40 seconds rather than every 60 seconds, which gets us a 600% increase in throughput from 1.4 million to 8.6 million. So it demonstrates that our scalability is not merely theoretical, but we can do that in actual fact. So spinning up scripts to fill the chain and actually have a multi-million transaction day without worrying about clogging up the network for our daily users is something that we can do on ECK and not jeopardize Epic. Incidentally, E4, the next version of Epic, is going to split the middle and go to 2 megabytes and 50 seconds, which gets us about a 250% capacity increase. So for those who are sitting on the sidelines and waiting for us to mature, in your Leia interview, she said, well, I'm going to wait 7 years to take the leap or whatever. Okay, but in the meantime, we're going to do a lot of innovating and demonstrating that we do what
Max, do you think they can
say we're going to do?
Would the ECK blockchain be one to where we can figure out how to transact without that handshake? Because to me, it's like
non-interactive transactions is something that
yes,
we will be exploring.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's something that we can't do safely on Epic because we don't know the unintended consequences of doing that.
Yes.
Which occur across many dimensions. So
well, right there alone, this became a little friendlier because I'm not seeing how we're ever going to have to worry about all of those transactions when it just so many of them fail. And
Epic Box is a step in the right direction that we implemented, thanks to Diego and our devs. It's definitely a step in the right direction as far as the user friendliness goes, but it is not exactly, it's kind of a quick and dirty fix, if you will,
and it's centralized.
It is.
Well, hold on. No, it's not. It's not centralized because there's seven Epic boxes running currently, and Mike Adams and people like that can spin up their own. Anybody can build an Epic box into their e-commerce app. So it's absolutely not centralized at all.
But
there's scalability built in.
But you have a default in the Epic Pay wallet, right?
Right, but nobody forces you to. This is just to start
and anybody
things.
Can fork those wallets. I mean, we're going to have a whole ecosystem of wallets. There's 3-4 wallets out in the wild already. Beat runs their own wallet. Change Now runs their own wallet. We designed the Epic box.
But I understand what you're saying. There is a server component to this, so in a sense there's a centralization, but just like with nodes, if you think about it more like in terms of Epic nodes, right? Yeah. You can have multiple of them, but again, this is still a quick and dirty fix. So I submit to you that you're right in the sense that it's still, but you gotta admit, it's still a hell of a lot better than dicking around with ngrok, figuring out how to open ports on a router, which is not exactly a mainstream thing, right?
And let's
it's a good intermediary step forward.
Well, and let's also consider where we are in our journey. Yoga, you were using BTC in 2012. You were probably using a command line interface on Linux or something. I mean,
Windows, CMD on Windows.
Yeah, you had to pretty much be a programmer to use the original Bitcoin.
Or just a really serious nerd, but yes.
As where we are. So we've made major usability strides. And to say that so many of them fail, I've been in touch with Diego very, very closely for a long time. And we've quashed dozens, if not hundreds of bugs. And the incidence of people having transactions not go through is increasingly rare. And increasingly, we know, why that is. And like anything else, there's a learning curve and things get better over time.
Has there been a new Epic Pay release? I haven't checked lately.
I think
version release.
How many releases have we had, Yoga? 15, 20?
I don't know. I keep getting notifications on Apple since I'm part of that dev loop. I keep getting updates, update notifications like
I
at least every couple of weeks. So they keep.
I asked, yeah, I asked Diego. I think he had 89 updates on his internal builds, and then usually it's a number of those that get batched into the
Right, and
releases that hit
remember
the
some of them,
app stores.
right, right, and remember some of them actually get, so you're on the dev distribution list, so some of those get denied by Apple for whatever reasons, and then we have to go back and tweak some things, and then they finally get accepted. So the
So it
number of
looks like,
submissions is, is higher than the number of actual
but
approved
that's different than the
notifications.
app in the App Store. It's still, mine says version 0.10.20 build 34.
Yeah,
So,
so 2020 build 34. There you go.
okay.
So there were X number
So,
of builds, one, and then there's build two, and and so on. So there's
Yeah.
there's a ton of iterations out there. Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
there's been
We're
a
definitely
massive,
nobody.
there's been a, well,
Uncle,
hold on, Yogi. There's been
nobody's resting on their laurels for sure.
and also to speak to your earlier comment about taking the eye off the ball of Epic, that's absolutely not the case. And any development that that goes into ECK is for Epic. The whole reason that ECK exists is to extend and enhance Epic. The code is the same, and there's a lot that we can safely do on ECK that, frankly, I would not be comfortable with us messing around, because if we jeopardize what we have with Epic in the pursuit of more, then all of a sudden, we're in the Solana category where it's a crapshoot. If you never
Yeah.
know whether your transaction is gonna happen or not, then you always have that stress. But when you get to the point where you're like, okay, this thing is bulletproof and reliable, then that accumulates trust and market relevance.
Okay,
over time.
let's talk tokenomics then. Share
Well,
the
hold on.
tokenomics.
Well, hold on. Let me just first talk about the utility of what this does for the for the ecosystem.
Okay.
Can you pull up the AVA
Oh.
awards thing?
Oh, yeah.
And we got Enrique joining us too.
There
Right
we
on.
go.
There he
Hey,
is.
Enrique.
How's it going?
Good, good.
Welcome. So first,
which one? This one?
well, hold on one second. I just realized I forgot to finish up here, and I'm watching the clock so we don't run over. So what ECK that delivers for us, I talked about the scalability. That's a testing playground for new features and functionality and configurations. The quantum resistant proof of work algo. Another thing that we're working on is scripting capabilities, which gets us limited smart contract functionality, not full Ethereum virtual machine compatible type stuff, but we also don't want to, because this is a more safe design. So we figure we'll be able to get about 60 to 80%, in other words, the most meaty, important functionality of the programmable currencies, and enable people to do things that are not possible today on Epic. Now that won't come in overnight, but it's another one of those things that would take our eye off the Epic ball and would jeopardize things on Epic proper, which are mainly around user interface and go to market and accessibility and stuff. So this really puts us in a sweet spot where we, as I like to say, have our cake and eat it too. So in terms of the Epicenter ecosystem, more broadly, what this gets us is the ability to drive user acquisition, adoption, and awareness. It also, well, I'll talk about the other point later. So in terms of user acquisition, and when we get to the tokenomics, we don't have final numbers, so I'll just speak to the things that the allocations will go to, even though we don't know the specific numbers. In terms of driving user acquisition, one of our most successful techniques that we did to grow the network was distributions through people like Dave Weiss, Paul Cook, Ad the Fakeologist, things like that. So people who have audiences that can get us new users, they will be able to earn ECK by setting people up. We're also going to do air grabs, where specifically we targeted the tokenomics of Doge after a very careful consideration, and we're going to use a chunk of that wherewithal to target actual Doge owners to say, okay, if you're a Doge holder and you want to come and join our ECK journey, then there'll be a process where you can validate that you have 10,000 Doge and you get X quantity of ECK. All of this is TBD. Another thing that we're looking at is how to reward Epic buyers. So right now, if you go and buy Epic on VTEX, that's that. But we realized that there's a possibility to say, okay, the next million coins, and that's not the number, just just throwing it
Yep.
out there. The next million coins that are bought on Veet and held for 30 days, 60 days, 365 days, whatever it is. Okay, you get some ECK on top. So that gets us closer to the staking capabilities that people have been asking for years. So we're going to drive acquisition. We're going to drive adoption. So Mother Trucker has a food truck that is going to add Epic as a payment method. There's still a lot of details to be defined on the program on that. The concept is if you set up a merchant and they start accepting Epic as payment, okay, submit the details here and you get some ECK as a reward. So creating in essence a field sales force. This is particularly good for frontier markets like Africa, where they don't really have access to as many payment rails as we do here. The last one is awareness. So the hashtag Epic Everywhere campaign. Everywhere I go, I run into the word Epic. There's Epic Beef Jerky. There's an Epic Hotel in Miami. There's Epic Brewing. So and we can come up with an infinity of creative ideas for stuff like this. Imagine you see that, you tag it on social media and drive some awareness and get some ECK reward for that.
But what's ECK worth?
A thing is only worth what someone is willing to pay. So the market will determine what it is worth. We don't attempt to control the value of Epic. All we can do is add value to it by the work that we put into it and the use cases that we that we use.
So is ECK going to be listed on
VTEX?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and that will be the only place in the beginning. Until and unless it gets some significant market value, it wouldn't make sense to consider change now,
Max,
or
only thing,
exchanges.
Max, only thing I'll caution from saying that's the only place where we listed is
we don't control it. Yeah.
Right. We can't tell other people, not to list it. I mean, people will be able to actually just pick
that would be wonderful.
But we're not, Uncle, but we're not, to your point,
we're not going to be
passing the hat or anything like that, like hitting people up, to raise money to list it, so it'll be listed on Vitex and wherever else, people decide to list it. So
okay. Another way that we're gonna deepen our relationship with the Epic user base. If you go to Costco, they often have free samples. Here, try this apple juice, try this hot dog, try this, cookie, whatever. And some fraction of those people convert into customers, and then some customers turn into longtime loyal users. That's the core of modern marketing. So ECK with the essentially, and I'll let Enrique speak to this, with the tokenomics as they're created, gives us the ability to have something from nothing to incentivize people to try on a very limited basis. It'll be very, very nominal with the supply as it is. It'll be 0.000, whatever, but it'll show people, oh, wow, you mean I just did a peer-to-peer electronic cash transaction on a mobile device that even though it's through Epic Box, for me, what I see on the screen, it took 1 second to go through. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I'm particularly stoked about the Enki initiative, Epic New Knowledge Initiative, and Free EU. So if you want to learn about our tech, accessibility, borderlessness, censorship resistance, centralization resistance, confiscation resistance, ease of use, inclusion, immutability, neutrality, openness, permissionless, sovereignty, sustainability, surveillance resistance, and trust minimization. There's a lot of prior art out there to learn from in terms of online courses where we can create a learn to earn program where people that are investing their time to educate themselves can actually build skin in the game that way.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Okay, so this sounds to me like people are going to be rewarded, and I get that, but again, back to being trustworthy. Okay, the snapshot was taken December of 2021, and then 2022 came, and the community, we got shit for it, right? Where is it? It's been a year and whatnot, and it's just always kind of hand wave that it'll be distributed when it's distributed. It never was. So My recommendation, when you talk about the staking or whatever, encouraging people to buy Epic and hold for 30 days, make the window a little tighter instead of a year out or something like that, so that we have credibility, that we can actually demonstrate that we will distribute as we promised, instead of just having it be a false promise. Because you can say these words all you want and it sounds really good, but they've always sounded good, Max.
Okay, so
And this is why I'm personally violently against any kind of front running bullshit, hand wavy stuff. I mean, this is why, like the tech on ECK right now, as it becomes a thing, we will make announcements. Like people are asking, like, well, how's the testnet? When is the testnet? When is this? No front running. Okay, it'll be discussed and announced as it happens, leaning on facts only. Sorry,
well,
Max,
and
go ahead.
and I think we should take a look at other teams and other networks out there. Cardano raised $200 million in 2016 and didn't get domain net until what, 5 years later, and the thing still doesn't even work. Nobody's doing anything. So if you start with 200 million and 5 years later, all you have is Charles Hoskinson videos on YouTube, and that's a 13 billion market value or something.
But Max, you're right. But to Uncle's point, we're not trying to be lesser douchebags. We're trying not to be douchebags at all.
Yeah, and with that specific thing, and all of these things are it's a hive mind process. Everybody who's been on the ECK calls to figure all these things out, and everybody's welcome to join those. Thank you. As I mentioned, the original thing is buy Epic and get some ECK. With that machinery in place, we can do the hold for 30 days and get more, hold for 60 days and get more, hold for whatever time frame. All of these are core building blocks that unlock more.
Will you have to stake it though on Veet?
No, it's not.
You don't have self custody.
No.
Well, so I don't want to get too into the weeds on this because it's more at the idea stage. But the point is that we want to find ways to incentivize people to buy Epic, and we want to find ways to incentivize people to hold Epic. And we realized the other day in looking at the capabilities of the Veet platform that there's a lot of power there beyond what our original thinking was. The original thinking was the next million or whatever coins that get bought, and again, that's not the number, but the next X coins that get bought, we want to sprinkle some ECK on top of the cupcake. And
what are you going to do for current Epic holders?
So if you own Epic, that becomes the genesis block of the when we launch the network. If you own Epic, you own ECK as of the very first block. Epic owners
one for
100% of the network.
Yeah, one for one,
yeah, and we're also looking at ways to sprinkle more on the prior snapshots as well.
Okay, I would strongly encourage that, just so at least there's something that was distributed or done or acknowledged, right?
And I'm sorry that got missed, because that's actually the core of where this all started. So the existing Epic holder set is the imagine a train track that splits into two. Everybody on the Epic train, the Epic train continues, but as of block whatever, now ECK splits off, and then they have independent destinies. We're using a lot of the machinery that we intended to use for ECR for ECK.
And okay, so one thing.
Hold on, Yoga. And getting back to your prior point about, it's been years and whatnot. Well, let's not forget that we chose a community development model for Epic and for ECR, and that the discussions about what we want to do necessarily involve thinking about what we want to build. And so people are looking into the chefs. They're sitting at the chef's table looking at the the ingredients being allocated or being put onto the staging tables, and the chefs chopping and so on, and rendering opinions about how the eventual meal should be cooked. And so people are participating in the design process at a very granular level, much earlier than in other networks where just but $100 million, go build it and use it.
I'm sorry, I was there. I was running the live streams, and we sent the really strong message many times that it would be distributed. Like, I think at the time of that snapshot, we were talking about maybe March or something. And so let's just agree to agree it didn't happen. And so there's a credibility gap there. So that's why the reason why I'm bringing it up is as you make promises on ECK, you know, I would be more definitive. I wouldn't even make a freaking promise
I agree
until
with
you
you,
know
Uncle.
until you
I
can
agree
actually
with you, Uncle, 100%. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Because it's
100%.
that becomes that makes me want to, you know, declare it a shitcoin because it's just a false promise at this point.
But
you know,
let's get back to, you know, because we're talking about value. Okay, we're talking about like why would this thing even have value right out of the gate?
Right.
One of the cool things about it is because of this, you know, more Doge-like approach to, you know, to the mining, for example, that, you know, there's going to be no halvings and stuff. You know, people are going to be able to actually participate in mining and, you know, with gaming PCs actually get blocks of this. And, you know, this is an exciting demographic that we're trying to target with this, with services that will be uniquely available to, you know, ECK payers. For example, you know, like gaming server access, you know, things like that. Okay, because ECK is mineable with CPU and GPU, and, you know, CPU actually heavier favored than GPU even. You know, I see a higher participation of new people injecting fresh new blood into our ecosystem, in addition to our Epic veterans. So I view ECK not as a subset, but as a good, large, additional chunk of people that will be introduced to our ecosystem. Okay, and this is the thing that, to me, you know, with Epic being a real store of value, right? Because we have built-in scarcity, and ECK being more like a Doge, you know, Doge model, you know, with much lesser scarcity but higher velocity.
see, that's where, can we please talk tokenomics, because I can't even wrap my brain around the value of ECK without knowing it, because when there's this unlimited supply and I'm like, okay, so there's a match, right? So you have 1,000 Epic, you get 1,000 ECK, but presumably that's going to be trading at 0.0000, you know, something small. And then it's going to be, and I thought the idea was you want to be able to just utilize this thing. So it's not really, I don't know. I can't wrap my minds around the value. So
Doge is 8.8
you're
billion
muted.
market cap.
what's that?
I'm sorry, I'm just letting Enrique know that he started talking and he wasn't heard.
Oh, okay.
Doge is 8.8 billion market cap with the exact same tokenomics, and the Doge ownership is very concentrated. So what we want to do is we want to drive network effects. We want to get more people into our boat. We want to target new demographics, and one of the key missing pieces with Epic has always been marketing. And where does the wherewithal for that marketing come from? Here, we create an asset that we can use to do marketing, and whether the value is 0.000 whatever, or, you know, some other number, it enables people to interact with our tech. And if you have ECK, then you are 1 millimeter away from the rest of the Epic ecosystem. So while the wallets and stuff will start out distinct, over time, it'll get to the point where it's, just now Epic appears in my ECK wallet, and vice versa. So this solves a critical gap in the question of how we get Epic to billions of people.
How is this all funded then?
How is
we're not passing the hat.
So where do the dev funds come from? Is there a miner's tax?
Who cares? I mean,
I
it's
care.
being funded. Well, but nobody's being asked for
Well,
funds.
hold on. No, I think he's talking about.
I mean, Jesus, it's a right question.
Who's funding the development of ECK? That's your question, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So like I know with Epic, they're started with the 8.8%,
and then currently 4.4,
and it's 4.4. So I get
the
that.
halving, so it's down 90+%. Yeah, the Epic,
I understand that.
This is a key question. Yeah, let me address this now that I know where you're trying to go. Okay, so we deliberately designed Epic to match the long-term tokenomics of BTC. In other words, post singularity, there is no there is no funding on it. If we did it any other way, then we would be in the same boat as other projects that we've seen their experience, like a Firo or a Zcash, or Beam is going to hit a wall. So another one of our key questions is, how does Epic development continue to get funded indefinitely beyond when that happens? And so whether it's X or Y or Z, whatever the value is, and this is of course our challenge, is to make it have a value, and we control the inputs that we put in, and the utility we give it, and the reach that it gets. There is a 33% minor contribution from each block, which, you know, in the beginning won't amount to a hill of beans, but the point is 5 years from now it will be something, and whatever it is, that provides some wherewithal to fund development, to fund marketing.
So it starts at 33%
costs, and it stays there forever.
It's at 33%. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes.
And it stays there. Who holds custody of the funds that come into that wallet?
Well, it's multiple wallets, and as ECK is not a community project, it's a Yoga. Do you want to speak to this one? You had some prepared thoughts on this.
The prepared thoughts on this is, you know, we're fortunate to have some top people in the industry who appreciate the value of the project. And right now, you know, different people, you know, with different skill sets that'd be relevant, you know, some development, some marketing, some use cases, some gamification. Different people stepped in, you know, to participate in various ways, not just, you know, monetarily, but offering their expertise, their connections, their infrastructure, and their time. So it's a collaborative effort. There's not, you know.
So there's a group of people who are going to eat from the 33% table. Yeah.
Yes.
It's one way.
I mean, yes is a fine answer. I mean,
no, but it's one way of putting it, because it's not just that group of people that's going to eat from that. It's going to be, you know, the community as well that's benefiting.
And so let's just be clear that the minor contribution has never covered more than a single digit fraction of the expenses for the Epic dream to become real. So all of the contentiousness around, oh, somebody's getting rich off of this. No, absolutely not. This has been a majorly costly exercise. And so it is precisely based on our experience of having done Epic the way we did that the structure was chosen for ECK. And so what we don't want to have happen is we get to 2027 and there's only dust remaining on the original minor contribution. And then it's okay, we got to stay up with the market. We got to keep innovating. We have to, you know, keep doing new stuff and keep the lights on. Where do those resources come from? If the existing model had a permanent funding source for those things, then it would be different. But we wanted to bake in that discipline from the very beginning, that there would be no electric coin company in the picture of the Epic story. Epic had to be as close to BTC as possible.
No, and I'm glad
to have a chance of succeeding.
I love Epic Cash. I love Epic Cash tech, and believe in it greatly. So
well, hold on, Uncle. This is how we ensure its survivability long term.
Isn't there a rightful concern that those lucky 33%ers are going to take that and then suppress the price of ECK, because they're going to be dumping, because that's how they're going to ultimately be able to.
Well, developers need to eat. Developers need to eat, and the people, you know, who are doing marketing services need to eat. I mean, it's a free market. People can buy and people can sell. When it's not a stable coin, it's not, you know. I hope that long term it has a value.
Right, but Uncle, one thing to consider, you know, from a business standpoint, if the value that brings makes the remainder worth more, there's kind of a min-max, you know, economic equation in there somewhere that justifies the overhead, if you will, and that would be the value driving process. But at the same time, look, ECK first and foremost, though, it's a testing platform. I think, you know, we're looking at this, to be honest, we're looking at this really not from like a tokenomics thing. I mean, that's more of an experiment in itself. Like we've never done a Doge-like emission. We've never done that before. So we're kind of on this journey of discovery. But the big thing is, we need those emissions. We need to be able to drive and test the throughput of the network. The point of Epic, or one of the points of Epic, it is unconfiscatable private property. And what's cool about that is it is a store of value, right? Because of scarcity. Here, our first kind of priority is really going to be to try and drive the transaction volume, because we're really going to try and achieve something that we haven't been able to achieve on the Epic network before, is to have just a shitload of transactions, a ton of transactions, because we want to tax the system organically, to drive this transaction thing. Microtransactions, big transactions, tipping transactions, faucets, all of those things, just blowing up the network and to see if it works. And if it works as it works, it'll have value.
And not just on it, and not just, sorry to interrupt, Yoga, but not
No,
just
please
on a
go ahead.
technical value, but the prevailing ideology of people that understand the 21 million supply model of Bitcoin and Epic is HODL. I'm not going to give away 10 coins today for whatever, they're going to be worth $1 gazillion in the future. And so you have this disconnect between the receiver says, oh, I just got 10 coins worth $3, thanks a lot, jerk. Whereas the person giving is like, I just gave away 10 grand, and we've never been able to bridge that. There's this other thing called unit bias, where we're at a level of sophistication in the crypto market where a lot of people still today in 2023, they say, I like Litecoin because I can get more of them than I can't afford one whole Bitcoin, but I can afford many Litecoin. And if they go to 1 million, if you understand the psychology of the lowest common denominator of the market, let's say, when I was in Miami and during the height of the boom in 2021, every single Uber driver showed me their crypto wallet, and busboys and people on the street, and Doge. It was all about Doge. And the conversation didn't really extend to beyond, if this thing goes to $1, man, I'm going to be rich. And so we've seen that play out over time.
Is ECK then? Can we say that it's centralized? Is that the right word? Because there's a core group that is part of that 33%.
It's not centralized in the sense of distribution of proof of work and everything else, though. Again, it's going to be open sourced when it goes mainnet. So it's
okay. So, but there's a group, and I'm just going to be devil's advocate, guys.
Sure.
Just because this is what I have heard, right? Which is the dev tax on Epic started getting smaller and smaller, and then the price is going down. And so we created ECK with this large emission with a group of people who are going to benefit from that. And that's why the focus has not been on Epic Cash like it was.
That's not at all accurate. That's not at all accurate, because all of the people that are working on Epic are still working on Epic and have nothing to do with ECK.
Correct.
So you're not in the lab. You're not in the labs group. You're not looking at what's happening. You're not watching the
devs. The Epic devs are on Epic 100%. The Epic GitHub is
there has been zero diminution of focus on.
But hold on, Max. Let's just roll the clock back a little bit. Uncle, great question. But remember, we talked about this. We talked about ECK way before any of the tokenomics, before the Epic halvings and everything else. And we realized back then, because we talked about pushing the theoretical maximum transaction throughput, we're talking about moving it over 2000x over Epic. And we talked about how we can't, because there's a security trade-off, potential security trade-off, vulnerabilities that we mathematically, we pretty sure it's not going to happen, but until we hammer on this thing is really when we're going to find out if it happens or not. So there's these things that we could not dare to test on Epic blockchain. And this is why ECK was part of the trajectory. And ECK, to me, it's not a distraction. ECK, to me, if we didn't launch ECK, we would be full of shit. This would have been another bullshit thing that we could have been accused of, saying that, hey, well, you guys promised us ECK. Well, goddammit, we delivering ECK, okay, because it was promised before any of the tokenomics, before Epic price came down, before it went up, before, it was something that was in the map early on, because we realized.
You can go back to 2021. Yeah, look at documentation from 2021. and it was.
And-
it was
and-
on
and
I
we talked-
remember.
Yeah, and we're
it's
talking
been on-
about quantum resistance too, that we're saying like back then, like, oh, this is not really, this is
No,
just
all
beginning
of
to
that I
trend.
understand beautifully.
Right.
And I appreciate it. And I began this show talking about when it was a canary network and it was just kind of in my purview over there. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, man, that is really, really smart. You know, don't screw with our precious Epic blockchain, but go kick the tires, try to break it. And that's cool. And I understand that that's part of what it is. It's still beyond me a bit of thinking how it's going to be executed to where you're going to be able to get those gazillion transactions that are going. I mean, how in the hell are you going to get that many people?
Easy.
Okay,
You write scripts to send transactions back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you automate it. Yeah.
But organically also, I mean, to me, actually, I hear what Max is saying, you know, yeah, we can sandbox some of that stuff, okay, but to really push it, we need to do it organically.
Well,
And we're gonna hit it with,
Yeah, sorry, Yoga, go ahead.
we're going to hit this thing with a lot of hash network, you know, and we're also going to, you know, we're going to go after like Twitch market, you know, for example, like gamers, you know, on Twitch, gamers on YouTube, you know, gaming servers, you know, things like that. We're going to offer people, influencers, you know, tips in ECK to participate and to mine in there whenever they're not gaming, to actually mine ECK. You know, we are engaged on a couple of different fronts for doing like a one-click miner that we're actually going to test, and Epic is going to massively benefit from this also because, again, once it's tested, it's going to be a lot of this stuff is going to be retrofitted back. So ECK is picked up from the latest version of Epic Cash. A couple of people asked me, like, is ECK a fork? It's a fork in the sense of, it's not a fork in the sense of blockchain, like Epic blockchain kicks ass and it keeps going forever and ever and ever, right? But what it is we took the latest, most patched, most updated version of Epic code, okay? And on top of that, we build out ECK with different tokenomics, different proof of work algos, okay? So it's like we added, you know, the freeway keeps going, okay, but we like copy pasted it on the side, and we're going to add like
Now,
100 more lanes.
when you paste, did somebody who have 1,000 Epic, is that pasted to have 1,000?
No.
ECK?
Blockchain starts at mainnet with zero, and then it goes from there.
Okay.
So no. There's no. This is the important thing, and I'm glad you're asking this because some folks are there are different types of forks. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not diverging. Like this does not affect Epic blockchain in any way, shape, or
You're
form at all.
completely
All we're
independent.
doing is we're taking the code base, the most current, latest code base. Okay, and we're firing it up. In fact, we actually found a minor. This is not like a huge thing, but we actually found a minor mining bug already when we started testing. When we added a new algo, you know, we came across something that we missed before, you know, on ProgPow and RandomX and Cuckoo, you know. So this is just right out of the gate. You know, we actually get one small benefit. You know, again, it's not an earth-shattering thing, but but it's going to get worked backwards into Epic code and get built into the next Epic, code update. And that's kind of really the point of it, is to have this massive new thing that we can beat on that's more transactionally oriented, not as a store of value, but as, medium of exchange, and to achieve these multiples of transactions. And yes, while automation is a huge factor of it, there's a certain diminishing return in automation because it's very predictable. You can go like 100x, 1000x, whatever. But when you're going with these individual weird custom cases with individual weird configurations with individual, that's when you can uncover some weird fuzzy stuff that you may miss when you're just simply scaling up, a well-oiled, virtual machine. So we want to hit it on all fronts. We literally want to try and break it.
What do you think is going to be the next flashpoint or brush fire that's going to get people excited about Epic Cash again?
I think it would be, first of all, the government is doing a great job for us, as far as showcasing the need for private, unconfiscatable property. I enjoyed your discussion with Leah, how you kept hammering on the fact that, lack of fungibility in BTC, and you were polite and, very gentlemanly, but she stuck to the point where she was dismissing fungibility as a user error, like, oh yeah, because I doxed myself, it's not fungible, but the Bitcoin is fungible. It's like, you shouldn't be able to dock yourself out of fungibility. If the asset is serialized, it doesn't
Right.
matter if you've screwed up or not. It's not fungible. I'm sorry. Okay, just because somebody doesn't know it but once they know it, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so but so to me, I think Epic, look, the scarcity and the privacy are king. Okay, and educating people about the value of that, to me, that's the biggest no-brainer. At some point, you hit that level of understanding, into the mainstream where people are going to go, crap, privacy is a big thing. It's a huge thing. With CBDCs, again, the more we hear about CBDCs, the more people are incentivized about learning alternative ways to try and exist their way out of, being completely dominated by that. And that's the trajectory that we've been proceeding on, right? We've been educating people about that. You've done a tremendous job. You got literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of content explaining to people the importance of this from all these different angles. Okay, where I see an incremental that we're going to pick up from ECK is really getting more mainstream, like gaming nerds, Call of Duty, DayZ, just casual gamers getting into this whole process of like, hey, here's a computer, and it's actually could be doing stuff whenever you're sleeping or whenever you're not gaming, generating this thing. Something that we try to do with Epic, but because of the halvings and because of the difficulty spiking so fast on Epic, we didn't really get it to that exciting point. And I think with ECK we can. I think with and then bridging people, bringing those people in through ECK and introducing them to Epic. So I see ECK as a catalyst, as a kind of a social lubricant, if you will, for introducing more Epic into the mainstream.
Okay.
And also just to elaborate on that, that the branding, the brand positioning is completely different. Epic is serious money where we're appealing to people's intellect and logic. We need people to understand 21 million and halvings and censorship resistance and fungibility and all this stuff. But Doge is $8.8 billion and the blockchain doesn't do anything. The people that own it, not one out of 100,000, I bet, or maybe 1 million even, will ever use the blockchain. They don't care. They just want to be a part of a community. They want to have something fun.
Yeah, part of that we're trying to rekindle with Epic, because I remember how much fun and nerdy and stupid, just entertaining Doge was early on, before like Elon, kind of hijacked it and sidejacked it or whatever, jacked it. The idea of crypto being fun and the idea of crypto being like a gamer's currency kind of thing. I just think there's a lot of something to be had there.
Let's finish on a high note. Can you pull up the AVA awards, please, Uncle?
Which one?
And share the screen. Yeah, just show the one, and then let's go to the one with the people. Okay, so the numbers TBD. We're still working on it, but a big part of this, we're just, where do those 140 billion go? We don't know the specific number, but a lot of them will go here. Pull up the other one, please, the one with the people. Okay, yeah. So we want to. There's the retroactive look back of people who made Epic what it is, and then there's the go forward of getting more of those behaviors in the future. We've never had any reward mechanism. This is where ECR was supposed to play in the ecosystem, and now we've got that gap there. And when I say that ECK can do about 80% of the functionality of what ECR was supposed to do, it can't do the EUSD stuff that we need. We're still figuring out how to get there, and we will over time. But we need to incentivize and reward people that are doing stuff out of the goodness of their hearts right now, and also to bring in more people to do those things. So with the AVA awards, we're going to figure out how to shower ECK onto people who have done things that help move the needle. So for example, Uncle V, with your channel, Epic Rising, Crypto Star Daily, people that are doing TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I guess those are the main ones. Community leadership, like moderation. We've got a lot of great art out there. People that have made memes like Monkman and Miyamoto and Justa. People that have done images and infographics and made videos. Sithius in the Czech Republic and Ata making the Epic coins. Shelly D with her swag stores. Translations. People have contributed code. All of the things that we've been doing. Now we have a way to say, okay, let's create a process. We all did different stuff to different varying degrees. Show your work, and let's figure out, this guy gets X, and this, not this person gets X, but we'll have prizes. So for this category, the grand prize gets X, and then there's 3 junior or gold, silver, bronze, whatever, and figure out how to spread the ECK in a way that energizes our community and gets us united and rowing in the same direction. This is one of the most pivotal and important moments in our Epic journey, because it marks the transition from a single asset that is kind of isolated by itself, and it's a cool blockchain, and it stores value really well, 30 times better than BTC, or 30 times better than the dollar, and 1,000% better than BTC over the past 3 years. But we need to do much more than that. So this hits on a lot of notes. And if anybody wants to be in the design process of that, we're doing a call in about 3 hours later today. So Mother Truckers sent the list around. Everybody's welcome to join.
So
the link,
anybody watching this between now and then can go to t.me/epic cash, and I'm sure that you can provide that link there to everyone. So,
yep.
All right, it's 1 o'clock, guys. The jury just got back.
I just want to leave a comment before you give your decision, Uncle. To me, a shitcoin is a coin that serves no purpose, has no utility, and really has no reason to exist. In ECK's case, it's the native token of the sandbox blockchain that will help improve Epic throughput, implement new algos, so it will serve a purpose, and it'll be very important to improving Epic. So, that's the value I see in ECK and in its blockchain.
And should we believe you? You're in that prison uniform there.
Yeah, but he looks like Jason Statham, for crying out loud.
Oh,
got a couple new shirts like this, so they're comfortable.
All right, everyone watching. Thank you for watching, by the way, those of you. Please do come see Mike Adams and me over at decentralized.tv. Join up. We're interviewing lots of great guests. Robert Iyasaka, yeah. We interviewed him. I know Mike has already aired part 1 of it, but we do what we call an after party afterwards that's going to come out, to where Mike and I talk about the guest who was on, and not like talk behind their back, but we just have a deeper discussion, because we don't think interviewing somebody for an hour and a half really makes a lot of sense, but people will go 45 minutes. Anyway, decentralized.tv, we have some pretty cool announcements that are going to be coming up, so hope you join us. But my decision, guys, I never, ever thought ECK was a shitcoin. Let me be honest. I knew better. I know better. I know its purpose. I did not understand the tokenomics. I still don't understand the execution, and I'm still concerned about false promises. But I believe that it is very solid, and I understand how needed it is. And as a Epic holder, I appreciate the fact that you're going to be able to beat up on the ECK blockchain, ultimately for the benefit of Epic. And more importantly, if you beat up on the Epic blockchain to be able to, move some controls for it to do X, Y, or Z, and it breaks, that would be regrettable. That would suck. So if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. So I appreciate this. I had the opportunity today to, I think, answer or ask some difficult questions. And, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate your candid answers back. But you know, I don't know. We're just going to have to see it once it's released into the wild and see how it performs. And
You're absolutely right. Proof has to be in the pudding. This is not about talk. The code
Right.
has to be out there. It needs to get banged on. It needs to be tested. There's no, whatever Max and I and Enrique and you say, like, this thing needs to be born into the world, and it's going to need to fight for itself.
Yeah. And I sure would like for not all the bandwidth from the community to be going towards ECK. I'd like to, you know, I see a lot of kind of just, hey, good morning, how are you? Beautiful people, epic people, and a lot of that kind of stuff that just doesn't seem real move the ball forward on Epic productive to me. And I know historically I've been a big part with my Friday live streams and Wednesdays live streams. And you know, but I have lots on my table that I have to deal with. And so I don't know if I could commit to every Friday, but I'm sure going to try to get back to some sort of reasonable live stream schedule. But I encourage others to do it. I mean, it's been a few months, guys, and I don't know. I was really hoping there'd be somebody that would have an Epic Cash Live that would just step in and provide you guys the platform every week and such. So, but you know what? I love me some Epic Cash. And so that's where my heart is. And if ECK is going to add value to Epic Cash, I'm all for it. And I appreciate the fact that you guys educated me a little bit more today.
Well, thanks for that. And just to be,
Thanks,
just
sir.
to clarify on the ECK rewards for people, that is going to be to market Epic specifically, not to market.
Good.
Yeah,
There we go.
So yeah, you go push Epic and you earn ECK. I mean,
Okay.
there is no
that.
Epic. There's no Epic to reward people for what we need them to do.
Right.
Now we have a tool to reward them. So
Okay.
yeah, this is the ECK is the afterburner on the back of the Epic.
Now,
jet engine.
can I ask a final question? So out of that 33% is where the rewards come from, right?
No, at 140 billion.
Oh,
There's
okay.
going to be a shit ton of ECK
so-
for people. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So the 140 billion is the pre-mine. So somebody holding 10,000 Epic, while that may be for Epic, that's ECK
But the
dust.
scaling is different. So again, and this is something that we're still working out. Is going to need to make sense for everybody involved.
And also, yeah, and also like we've had it kind of lopsided in a lot of ways. I know many holders of lots of coins that don't do anything at all for us, and in fact, some of them are actively negative because they're like, "Hey, bro, the price is down. Console me," and I'm like, "Will you help?" Will you help with your time? Will you help with your money? Nah, miss me with that. And then there's other people that have been putting in that might have 0.001% of the coin supply that are there every day. They're living it, they're breathing it, they're positive contributors. And so this is a way to enable those people to deepen their relationship financially with our ecosystem and earn some real skin in the game that would be out of reach because they don't have the mining hash power or they don't have the money to go buy coins. And don't really have a way to earn them. So this is going to motivate our I hate to use the word workforce, but it's feet on the street and people doing stuff that makes this go. And so can we get to the point where we have hundreds of people that are stoked and actively doing stuff? I mean, even if it's 0.000 whatever, that's a lot of money in $1 a day type places. And you wouldn't know it from the price being down, but we're kicking ass in West Africa. We're doing, in the Philippines, in India. There's a lot of places where a dollar goes further, where this is a new way for them to get excited. And we don't lose anything what we have with Epic. We just gain a new parallel track and then harvest the synergies between them.
Alrighty.
Epic ECK is supposed to be an Epic multiplier. Okay. It's not supposed to be competing for cannibalizing attention or anything like that. If anything, it's going to give us more stage time in the crypto community, and it's going to draw more spotlight at Epic.
Okay. Well, I hope that somehow in the branding shows up so that there's that continued focus
It'll
on
show up
Epic
in the
Cash.
action. Again, it's going to be marketing, and it's most importantly, it's going to be in action. So people
Okay.
will see it. You're not going to have to trust it. It'll be there.
Okay. All right. I'm not even going to ask, well, when should we expect it? I'm not going to even ask. So don't answer.
I'm going to promise. It's being worked on. We're not,
Okay.
but yeah. And when it's ready, it'll hit the ground. We'll give heads up where we will pre-run it or not pre-run it when we know that the mainnet is going to be ready to activate it. Not when it's
Yep.
activated, but when we know for sure that the mainnet is going to be activated, that's when we're going to tell everybody, because we're going to be able, we want to make sure that everybody can start mining at the same time. Okay.
Let's do this. Let's have a special live stream when that happens.
Mhm.
And you can hit the button right during the live stream. How about that?
Sure.
However, that
Absolutely.
button is
No,
hit.
that sounds good.
No, we'll make a big deal out of it.
Yeah. Right on.
Cool.
Sounds
All
like a
right,
plan.
gentlemen.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
again. Thank
Everyone
you.
in the
All right,
community, thank you. Cheers.